But they both had their opinions of what I ought to do, for they both understand him, but each in his own way. So here I am still in the dark, with nothing left to say. But 700 years, boys, 700 years, we'll get our questions answered in 700 years. Well, the moral of this story and the end of this sad song is remember Baba when things go well and if they go wrong. For there is no end to questions, just leave it up to him. And pray to God you'll see him when he comes back again. In 700 years, boys, 700 years, I pray to God I'll see him in 700 years. Jai Baba.
Fortnight. The longest period of his stay was 40 days up there.
40 days?
Yeah.
Was he fasting too?
Sometimes he would fast and sometimes he would take meal. It depends upon how he wanted it. Sometimes it would be just one meal a day, sometimes only on coffee, like that. There was nothing ritualistic about it.
The 40-day time was at the end of the Manonash period, or was that different?
No, before that.
Before?
Before a new life.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened is, that picture you see is after he had completed that work and came down. So he was garlanded and he's standing, and that's how the picture is there.
When Baba came down.
Yeah. And sometime in the beginning he would go right up this way. There was no regular trek. So you just climb as any kid would climb up the hill. But then this trek that you see, this pathway, has been created by Dr. Donkin. Oh, this is a private property.
Oh.
Meher is a private property, but then the top of the hill is the trust property.
Oh,
The top of this hill.
Uh-huh.
That's why I keep connected to it.
No, I don't.
I think it's all lava flows.
It is lava. He has never mentioned anything about that. But subsequently, when the visitors came, the pilgrims came, they tried to tell us that it seems to be a volcanic region.
Mm-hmm.
And very old.
Yeah, I found a seashell up here
Yeah.
recently.
Others also did. And therefore, yeah, that's what some people came to the conclusion, that it was underwater, under sea.
And it may be again soon.
Not as long as Erich lives here. I think it's me through Baba.
The hill is slowly crumbling. It's very unstable.
Yeah. Every time we have to dress it up,
Uh-huh.
but there's erosion taking place. Yeah. Stopping for whom? Stage.
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is where one of the cabins at the lower stage, as I showed you in the picture, was here. It was here. The door opened this way, and facing this.
North.
There was a window here that opened, and he would be here all day for his universal work, as he called it. And he did his work here. The cabins came at a later stage. In the beginning, he would be right up here, under the canopy that he has himself created. But then we were also with him. So it's always that selfish motivation is there. We say, well, our Lord needs to have some shelter, he needs some better care, and this and that. Lurking behind it all is a thought for oneself. It's always, that is human nature. It's always the human nature, yeah. So we thought of having a better shady place or this or that. How can we have, there are no trees or anything of the sort. So all that we thought of was building a shack. So when we approached him that, would you allow us to build a shack here? He says, why one? Build two. One for my work in the daytime and one for rest. So at 2 stages. So then of course, Sarosh, who was here, you all have you met him?
No.
So he entered into correspondence with the government because the land is here, it can belong to farmers and all that. But the hill and the slopes of the hill here in the rural areas are exclusively meant for the grazing ground for the cattle. That's the law of the land. So nobody can own a hill. Nobody can build buildings on the hill, you see. So eventually with great difficulties, we are not going to own it or we don't want to build buildings or anything, but this is how it is. So the whole, the position of Avatar MeherBaba was explained to the government and all that. Eventually the whole problem went as far as Delhi, where the Viceroy General of India was there at the time. You know what a Viceroy is?
Yeah.
So that's how he was the head of this country on behalf of His Majesty. So he permitted and gave it on a permanent lease. Only the 2 spots, not the hill in between the distance, only the spots where you wanted the shacks to be constructed. So this is the spot, and there is another spot up there. So we have the lease for these 2 spots, and the lease was in the name of Sarosh. After Sarosh died, it went to Vilu, the wife and the family. So they thought that it's best now, what will we do with this sort of thing? See, the best is to be transferred to the trust. So therefore, Avatar MeherBaba Perpetual Public Charitable Trust now is the owner. Yeah. On the basis of a permanent lease of 99 years. Yeah. So some years have passed by now. Yeah. That's how. And we pay half a rupee, Indian rupees, for the lease per year.
Oh my.
Yeah. So that's how it is.
Not too expensive.
So you might find a remnant of this. Where is that little?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is this post, you see, the corner post was there, then there was another post here, and there was a cabin here about, say, 7 by 7 feet. That's how.
Did Baba give instructions of how the cabin should be laid out as to facing, because it seems to be facing northeast, southwest.
But that's how it is. This has a panoramic view. It's best to have it there because Meherazad is here, you see. We can't, it's common sense logic. We don't want to have our backs on Meherazad. We'd like to, it's just, this is logical conclusion, you see. That's how it is. So it was facing this way, not directly towards Meherazad, but in the north. Nothing except that instead of having 1 cabin, why not have 2 cabins? That's the only instruction we gave. So that's why 2 cabins. And there was a tree over here, you see, it had grown, the acacia tree.
What happened to the tree?
Past 3 years or 2 years, I forget now. The tree, it had grown, very old tree, but not a big one.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. Right? It had grown to a height of and somebody cut it off one night. So when next morning, while we were driving from the trust office, I saw that there is the tree. So we came here, made inquiries, and there is no tree.
Never found out.
No, we have reported to the villagers, and they said that, well, some miscreants, for bootleggers, for fuel, they must have taken it. So poor fellow wanted to have another tree planted. He tried half a dozen times, but here the grazing sheep and all that, they come and
Come eat
destroy.
the little tree.
So we have not so far succeeded, unless one of you volunteer here to pitch a tent and
Watch the tree.
watch the tree. It is. And while Baba would be here, we were permitted to have a sort of an awning pitched over here. There is an open ground, you see. So we never used this awning except when Baba was resting up there. So we would come and sit under it. During the day we were sent out, you see, on the slopes of the hill to prevent any shepherds coming up or the sheep coming up, creating noise and all. Baba wanted total silence. So that was our duty. Or we would be engaged, you see, far away in the kitchen over there that we have, preparing something for Baba if he says that we can eat. So we would fetch water, see, from the heap of rubble that is there, that you see a dark spot there? So that is the well. We used to use water from it. And the barren ground that you see now was spotted with trees. And we could easily have dried twigs and all that from that. So that's how we used to collect wood. We collect that. And we, of course, had our tea powder and sugar and all that paraphernalia for the little pot that we have here. We have to carry it wherever we go. Apart from, all that is nothing but rock. It's not the, what do you call, any range, cooking range or
I didn't think so.
gas connections or anything of the sort.
It'd be hard to do that up here. Huh?
No electric.
So here?
No, come here.
Okay.
The climatic conditions have changed. The place was very windy. See, this is our kitchen. All the different little niches that you find were the little holes where we used to put fuel, you see, firewood, and allow the flame to cook whatever it was to be cooked. Boiling water for Baba's bath, or for our tea, or boiling rice, or lentils and all that. We had to change the position because the wind would change the direction, and very, very windy. It was very difficult. Even in recent years, when people who have come here in the past, they witness that there's a total change. Now no wind. It's just breeze that blows.
This used to be
But
very,
here,
very
windy. You won't have to keep your hat like this. You have to carry it in your hand. Your skirts and everything would just be like parachutes, you see. Oh yeah, it's very difficult. People coming in saris and all that, it's not possible. So, very windy. And if I were to address Norma, I said, Norma, this is our kitchen. She won't be able to hear this. No? We have to shout out loudly, very loudly. And they would hear and register. So we lived like this, and our exit would be here to go out. You see, many times we'd go down and come up and all, like as if we are being at some place. And when he would want to stay here for long, many weeks, so then my sister from Ahmednagar would send food. She would be cooking over there. You know where the trust office now, where money sits, that was her home. Yeah, and she, with her husband, lived there. And her husband was the manager over the whole estate, the motor works, the cinema, and everything was there. So Baba would always want food from her. So she would send the food from there. And a man comes there, no noise, just lifts his box, you know, the food box or tiffin carrier as we call it. And person who's keeping watch over there run and gets it. And delivers the empty vessels of the overnight, you see. That's how it would be. But if he were to come here for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or a week, we managed ourselves. But this looks barren, but it wasn't so barren at the time. It had a picturesque view of trees, greenery was there and all that.
Hard to imagine.
What was the temperature during the time you spent up here?
Well, in summer it would go to about 116.
It still would be windy though?
Very windy, both in summer, winter and rainy season. Well, we never felt the heat at the time. We knew. We all love hot weather than the cold weather, you see. We are from India and we are acclimatized. So this is the spot where he did his universal work. And in 1954, and this is the spot where he worked, and he said that he was doing his universal work, but we don't know what his universal work is, so we just nodded our heads and all that. But in 1954, after the accidents, he led groups of people up here. That was the last visit. At the time, the 2 cabins were brought down in 1951, as I told you, December. So there were no cabins also.
Yeah.
But he brought them up. Why did he bring them up? I don't know. But when he brought them up, to each group he had said, he'd come and stop here. All the group would be surrounding him. 4 times he came in 1954. And he said, how blessed you people are, how fortunate you do that. That I am bringing you up this hill. Yeah. And 70 years from now, this place will turn into a place of world pilgrimage. People from all parts of the world will come. Many will come. And what will they see? You will come to pay respect and homage to the place where I have worked. But what would they find and see? Nothing but rock. So, in memory of that posterity that is to come, pick up a rock and keep it with you. So that's how each one of us at the time picked up a rock and kept it with us. Likewise, he took us up to Meherabad hill, the same 4 groups, and there also he said the same thing. And he said, how blessed you are that you have come to my last resting place here. This is going to be the world's greatest place of pilgrimage. 70 years from now, people from all parts of the world will come. And you are blessed to have me here, bringing you, leading you up to this place where my body will rest. So in memory of those who are to come to pay homage and obeisance to this place, put your foreheads on the threshold. There was that, that niche was, what do you call that, tomb was not tomb at the time, we called it Meher Baba's dome at the time, you see, because he used to be there and all that. So on the threshold, Baba made us put our foreheads, and that's all. He didn't ask us to go inside or into this. So that means, most probably, that was the limit, or maybe it might become the limit, ultimate limit for some years, you see. After 70 years, that will be the limit. You won't be able to get inside. Now we have the greatest opportunity to go inside and be there and sit quietly, and in spite of it, many pilgrims come and complain that there's not quietude and it's always noisy and all that.
Yeah.
So it is like that. What can you do, you see? But there will come a time when from the railway line you'll have to feel contented that you have paid your obeisance on the rails, put your forehead on the rails. Yeah, there will come a time like that.
This is another seat here, Erich?
That is Baba's, yeah, that would be in the afternoon. He'll be going there when he would want to come. You see, that's the place where it is very calm.
No wind there.
No wind. He didn't like the wind. So he'd come and sit there. It's a sheltered spot. So that's how it was. And at the time, the sun would be here. So naturally, it was a shadow there. That's how it was. Were rarely visible at the time.
These
Years
rocks.
back.
Yes.
Now they are putting up their heads, you see.
Is this a cement foundation?
Yeah, it was a foundation here. Let them come. Second cabin. And this cabin was used by him for his rest. Same thing. The door would open this north, window would be here, and there was a railing. You have seen in the picture there's a railing. So it has all eroded now. Formerly, you see the rock there jutting out. All that was covered by earth. And there was a railing. We used to sit here. This is a level ground. That's how it is. All erosion is taking place. As I told, these rocks were not showing at the time. It was all covered with nice. And even after the cabins were dismantled and brought down, there was a lot of earth here. Yeah, rain, wind and all that blows. So this is the thing. That is Pimpalgaon Malvi. See that in the cluster of the trees? There's a village. We are attached to that village. That's why it is said MeherBabaLibrary, Pimpalgaon Malvi. The Pimpalgaon Malvi. Just Pimpalgaon, pardon? MeherBabaLibrary. This is known as MeherBabaLibrary. It is situated near the village of Pimpalgaon Malvi. There are many Pimpalgaons. Unless and until you use the word Pimpalgaon Malvi, just Pimpalgaon will not do. There are many Pimpalgaons here. There are 3-4 Pimpalgaons in the vicinity here. So there's a post office, there's a bank over there, there is the regular government land record office, and everything is there. So our MeherBabaLibrary falls in the jurisdiction of this Pimpalgaon Malvi. So that's how it is. And the population, of course, it was 3,500, but the last census I haven't found out yet. It must have increased, there's no doubt about it. So there is that rocky, what do you call it, little hillock that you see there. That is known as Manjar Sumba. So what has happened is that it's of course now desolate. Nobody lives there or anything sort. There was a old ancient palace up there, and there is it's known as the summer resort of the Mughals. They used to bring their concubines over here. Just imagine to have this place as the summer resort. Means the climatic conditions were, in this summer here people leave this place and go away from here. But at that time people used to come to this place for summer and bring their delicate women over here to pass their summer. So that is the summer resort, but now it's desolate, nothing there. But one thing is there that is very intriguing even to many people here who know it. There's water on the top of the hill and there's no water at the base. And all the villages there, 3-4 of them, the women folk go up the hill every day to fetch water up the hill. You see that there is a base of the hill and there is a rocky structure right there. You see, like a cake. You see the ring, very top, you see. And right at the very top is a small little thing that is the old dilapidated palace, you see. So there the rocky structure begins. There is the huge cavity. The whole thing is filled with fresh water, cool fresh water.
Is it rainwater or is it...
One never knows. Yeah, there are many.
There's 7 cisterns.
Long,
thin cisterns on the side of the hill. On the back side.
If it's a regular water supply, there may be some springs.
Maybe we don't know. But here there are no such rains, you see, to
fill the cavities.
And it's a perennial source of water, mind you.
And this lake has springs also?
No, this is man-made lake. That's how MeherBabaLibrary came into existence. What had happened at the time, the road ran right across the lake. That road that brings you here, so it was going right across and going to that Manjar Sumba and Happy Valley and Wambori and Rauri. So then the government thought of having some water supply, source of water to the township that was being created, Ahmednagar. At that time the population was 25,000 people. And so they thought of having some substantial source of water. It was a military station, so military have their own lake there. It is not visible today because of the haze. Behind the range, you see there's another little thing. It's like a lake of like Pimpalgaon Lake. This is known as Pimpalgaon Reservoir. So it used to supply drinking water to Ahmednagar city, or town it was at the time. And there you see the buildings there and the trees there. That is the pumping station. Water would be pumped from the reservoir, and a huge pipeline is there, a foot diameter. It would go right across, you see, 9 miles from here to Ahmednagar and taking water, carrying water. Yeah, it still does. It's still a standby arrangement. But it was man-made. There's a dam that has been put, a mile long is there, you see. So that's how it is. So it is there. The water has now, the level has gone down, and in summer, most often it becomes dry.
Totally dry.
Cakes of earth are there. And fish die and all that. Again, the regeneration, you have plenty of fish and fowls and all that come up. I don't know where the ducks and the ducklings get hatched, where the fish come from, what happens to the frogs, and what happens to the... From where do they spring out?
And they always come back, okay, no problem.
Yeah, and they are continuing. It's like creation is Mahapralaya, you see, it's total dissolution and total creation, you see, it's like that. And they spring up, you see. It's a sight to witness, and it's music for the ears to see them chirping, the birds and the ducks, you see, and the ducklings over there, and the croaking of the frogs and all that. Yeah, so that's how it is. So at the time when this was under construction, it got completed in 1920. And till 23, they used to use this because the pumping station was under construction. So in 1923, everything was complete. So this Meher Azad was requisitioned by the government from the farmers. This little plot of land. And the buildings that you see were not there. There was that small cottage where Rano now lives and Mani has her office. That was the only thing. It was meant for the engineer who used to supervise this. A Britisher. So he used to come. It is still marked on the maps of the military and here as the rest house. So after he finished the thing, the road was created for him, the approach road, everything. Of course, the trees we planted, you see.
Yeah.
Once after Baba came here and he told us to plant, and we used to plant them, carry water and put water, and that's how you got the avenue there. So, but the road was marked, you see, because the officer would come riding by and all that sort of thing. There were no cars at the time. They used to come on ponies or horse carriages, you see here.
Baba seems to have a propensity for settling on places formerly occupied by the British.
Yeah, well, he was a British subject, Irani subject, he's an Indian subject, he's a cosmopolitan. A little phone that would be here. See that little peg was there. There were two pegs there, but the cabin that was here had to remain stable because the wind blew everything off. So there were iron, what you call ropes. You see,
Iron cables.
Iron cables, and they used to keep the whole thing down. You know how you have the poles and all that are kept down. What? See here. People are misled into believing that this is a little dugout, you see, for Baba. Yeah. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Diana, come here, come down.
But it wasn't.
Just help the lady, please.
A cave.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with any cave or anything. Nothing to do.
Just
the thing is that it got created in the late 60s. There was an earthquake, you see, here. Yeah, of great intensity, and some boulders fell off, and that's how it is. So where now Gordon is sitting there, you see the reinforcement done by mortar. Yeah, trying to keep the thing in shape. On that side also we created a little reinforcement. So that's how. But now the shepherds take advantage of it when it is raining or something like that. So they get inside as shelter. And people who come here, sometimes they are led to believe that Baba used this. There's a cave there, Baba used this. No, it's not there. Baba didn't use anything. He was just here. There's a little bush there. You see the tree and all that? There is the grave of a saintly person.
Yeah.
Mira Datta, he's known as. And people go there. Every Thursday there is a fair held over there, up there. People of the town go there to get the spirits possessed by the bodies thrown out by his blessings or whatever you call it. So they have that faith and they go up there. Yeah, for that. So when you go up there, it's a terrible sight to see, you know. There are men, women, old, young, you see. It's rocking and breaking their heads and this and that. Some of them are tied and some of them are chained and all that sort of thing. So.
Their families bring them?
Yeah, families bring them, yeah. So that is that.
That's a good question. Does it work? Do they get dispossessed?
We don't know. The only thing that I know is that the keeper of the whole place is considered to be of a priestly caste. So his daughter was having some trouble, you see. So he, of course, they lived there all the time. They are at the. So one day we find them coming, a whole family, bringing their teenager-aged daughter, and they came to the dispensary and asked Ghave to do something because she seems to be possessed and all that. Nothing can happen. Nothing seems to cure her and all that. And the diagnosis was that she simply was suffering from epilepsy. And Ghave gave pills, and she continues to come and find great improvement, and they are so happy, and they bring flowers from there and offer to Baba here and all that. I don't know, it's the faith of people. It works or doesn't work, we don't know. Whatever it is. But this is how, I'm just trying to give you the topography of the whole place. And here you find, beyond this range of hills, on the range of the hills there you find a little bush there. And that is the old temple, you see. It's in memory of a perfect master some five centuries back. Yeah. There was a perfect master in this region and in the south called Gorakhnath, Machindranath. There were 5 perfect masters of the time. So they belonged to the Nath sect, and therefore each one has the suffix added as Nath. Gorakhnath, Machindranath and all. So the Gorakhnath's temple is there. Yeah. That's how it is. And beyond the range of the hill, there is a vast reservoir now created. Recently, 3 years back, and 25 miles of a big river has been dammed, you see. So all that water just remains there. It is used for irrigation throughout this district now. And Mula River, Mula Dam it is known as. And so it's just 20 miles from here. And water now through huge cement pipes, concrete pipes, you see, flow to Ahmednagar and to many parts of the district. That is the reason why you find the township there created. Can you see that white range of it? Yeah. That is New Ahmednagar. It's the industrial town that is created. Formerly there was no such thing as that. It's only 3 years back, after the water started flowing, they had that created. And government is encouraging to dissipate the density in big cities like Bombay, Pune and other places for the industrialization to just shift to other rural areas.
It's very necessary.
Pardon?
There's not enough power yet.
Not enough power, and these are the teething trouble, that we see here. You see, when they want power, we don't have power here because they shed load shedding, they say, and we suffer because they want the load there. Yes, it goes on.
Is that why we have power cuts here?
Because of the load. Yeah, load shedding it is known as. And beyond that hill, there is the station, first stop from Ahmednagar towards Manmar, Bombay, towards Delhi. It's known as Vilad, the station. That is the station. That hill that you see. When the train passes by around that hill, you see this seclusion hill, you see. And you try to see which is the seclusion hill. It seemed so close because it has the same shape as this hill, you see. Those who know about it. So when the train passes by, it's a sight, People get puzzled. Say, what? Seclusion? We are so close to the hill. And then they find that we know it is known as Vilad Hill because the Vilad station is there. Okay, what else is there now?
Did Baba once say that there'd be an airport out here?
No, Baba didn't say anything, but now I say it because we hear rumors that there is going to be an airport right in this direction. Yeah. Preparations are being made. They are trying to connect Delhi, Aurangabad, Ahmednagar, like that, you see. Direct Bombay, Ahmednagar and Aurangabad.
Good.
Yeah, Bombay, Pune, Ahmednagar, Aurangabad and Delhi. That's how it is. The greenery is receding. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like that. But this is now winter, you may call it, the end of winter. But it should be green. There should be moisture still in the earth. But what must be the fate in hot summer of April and May and June? You see? Oh, everything is just bad.
Will those green trees turn?
Is there another avatar
Yeah.
Who was that?
It was him only, you see. There is nobody else besides him. But he said that in between the two advents, there were minor advents. And he said that there were 3 minor advents between Muhammad and Meher Baba. And 3 minor advents. One of them was Shivaji. And the 2 others were, once he never named them. Once he said he was a sweet seller, Indian sweets. You have been to Ahmednagar, you know, the Indian sweets are there. So he was a sweet seller. And one other advent was he was a recluse in between India and Burma, in the forest areas, in Assam, most probably between Assam and Burma.
When he came that time, would he have the same role that he had?
Yeah.
And
Universal work?
Yeah. No, but at that time, this is a different thing that you are asking now. The difference between the minor advents and the major, the advent is this, that at the time of the advent, he comes for humanity. It's a universal, for universal redemption, you may call it. And at the time of the minor advents, it's his own choice that he comes. The advent is precipitated by the 5 perfect masters of the time, calling him out on behalf of humanity and creatures, you see.
What, the major advent.
The advent. So he comes with a protocol and all that red carpet treatment to be received by the 5 perfect masters, you see. But when he comes during his minor advents, it's on his own he comes, paying heed to the call of, pardon?
And he gives this special push just like he comes.
No, it is at the advent he comes.
Like a private visit.
But those are the private visitations, you see, and he comes paying heed to the call of a cross-section of humanity, or even a community that is oppressed and all that. So he comes
as a
to their help.
A local hero.
Yeah.
Does he have disciples in that advent?
No, they don't have disciples. He doesn't have disciples or anything of the sort. He comes there. Baba gave a very good figure, you see, that say President of the United States wants to come to India, official visit. So the protocol is there. He's right royally received at the airport and it's brought, and people are going. He comes with his retinue and all that sort of thing. He has followers following everywhere, you see, and all that. But then, suppose if he gets the whim to come all by himself, he's fed up, you see. And his mother is saying that, well, I used to work as a nurse over here and I would like to go there, or some excuses there, you see, like Carter's. So he would come on his own. He would, of course, have to inform the 5 perfect masters to come, saying, I'm coming, but don't let anybody know about it. I'm on my own, yeah. So that's how it is. He comes, he does his work, and leaves.
Did Bob ever speak of minor advents between Jesus and Muhammad?
No, he didn't. He never gave us any clue. Can you see that? Here, there is the hill.
What is it?
Khandoba Temple. Khandoba Mandir. Khandoba is that aspect of God which is considered to be the watchfulness of the Lord over his creation. So he is represented and symbolized as the dog aspect. Dog keeps watch, isn't it? You have a dog in the house. He's faithful. He keeps watch. He keeps awake in the night. Least noise, least trouble, and he goes on barking and confronts the people and so forth. So like that aspect, Khandoba is nothing but the dog aspect of the God. And it is usual where at these places, far away places, away from the towns and cities, villages join hands and pour in funds, and men, women and children labor and create such places because they feel comforted by that they have created a place for him to be here. And selfish motive again of man says, well, if we can allow him to house over here, he will keep watch over us. So that's where it is, that once a year or twice a year they hold fairs over there, and they all many villagers come up there and they dance and sing and keep vigil throughout the night. And when there are epidemics, famines, disasters through floods and all that, they rush up there, you see, en masse. And again keep vigil and sing songs and propitiate the Lord and says, well, do something for us. We have come here. So then after keeping a vigil for one night and all that, after having danced and sung, they come back, feeling comforted. Now we have done our business, now we leave it to him to do his business. And that's how it is. That's how faith is. A far-sighted look, you see, there's another type of hill there, far away from here. Can you see on that hill?
The little one.
Little white temple-like thing.
Yeah.
There's another temple dedicated to a woman who, because trying to save her chastity, she disappeared over there. It was at the time of the World War I, you see. It happened like that. When soldiers were prevalent over here and all that, she was carrying food for her husband in the farm. And they spotted him there, her there, and they chased. And she had no way to go, so she climbed up the mountain, the worst thing to do, you see. And there she implored the Lord to save her chastity and all that. So while they were rushing up, chasing her, what they found that she's no more. So she has disappeared since then. Many times they hear the voice of the woman from the hill and all that. It has been dedicated to that woman. Her name was Vaija. So it's known as Vaija Bai's temple. And many women who are desperate and who feel disappointed and distressed, they go up there and implore her help. Just as she received help from the Lord, so she may, through her intercession. So that's her. So just 4 miles away from there was our last stop in New Life. We had stayed there, called Islampur at the time.
Islampur?
I'm sorry, Imampur. So there, on the road to Aurangabad, Ellora Caves, there is a place called Imampur there. There you all know the story of the dhow, where Baba stayed, halted for the night, and in the morning he told us to beat him with shoes and spit upon him. And then we started from there that morning, and we passed all that, passed that town, passed on the roadside, and then it was in the December of 1951, and he was passing by this road, not knowing where he will lead us, you see. So then he turns his head and says, well, the cabins are still up here. Let us go and rest here. So we came across the field and came up the hill, and Baba stopped here. And for about 5-6 days he remained here, and then he expressed his pleasure and wish that the 2 cabins were here, dismantle them and send word to Padri. He came with his carpenter and all that, and 2 cabins were brought down and made one there. So in the end of December 1951, the 2 cabins were brought down. That's how it was. So that's the end of the wandering in New Life. Yeah, that's right. What happened?
Our people are
Huh?
Some of our people are there.
Yeah. So be careful with the pond.
Yes.
See, this is the spot where Baba was made to sit. The last, he was brought here, and Louis van Gaston was here, who took the film of Baba. This is the place. The last that he came, and I think that was the last official filming was done here, whatever the strip was. But after that was...
That was in
1968, yeah. And then in 68 December, the Dara's wedding reception was held, and you have the last picture of Baba there, 40 days before he passed away, that was there. But this was the place where Baba was made to sit and all that. This is acacia tree also. At the time the trees were not big, they were small, and we could see the hill clearly from here. And the branches now, see how they spread and obstruct the view. So also when we spread out, we obstruct our view, the view. that come here. There are the yogis around. Many people come out. People, farmers come, and literate people, illiterate, scoundrels, vagabonds, murderers, drunkards, saints and sages and perfect masters have come to him. And I am there to witness all this. So likewise, there was an occasion when there were about 4 yogis had come. You know yogi, what a yogi is? You know, yogis. So each one, there was one yogi who used to come to Baba. His name is still, he's an old man now, Sudananda Bharatiya of Adyar, south. I don't know whether you heard or not. He's a very renowned, he's known as the Mahayogi and all that. So he was there, and naturally they are of the same school. So he had brought this yogi of this school and this yogi and that. So each one is trying to tell Baba about their yogas and their studies and all that, their schools. So Baba listened and all that. And says, I'm very happy to see you all. This good work that you all are doing, it's so good and all that. I have listened to what you all have said, but my yoga is quite different from yours. So somebody asked, what is your yoga, Baba? This is my yoga is simple. There need not be classes held or anything to be taught. All that you have is to accept the fact. My yoga is you go and I come.